No. My 6-year-old son is a liar. But we were blessed because he has a little mannerism that lets us catch him whenever he lies. Whenever my son lies, he lies so slowly that it's obvious. I'm like, Walt, buddy, this vase is broken. Have you been in here this whole time? Yes, sir. Alone? Yes, sir. Did you break it? No. I think his little mannerism is going to hurt him later in life in his marriage. His wife is going to come in with that new red dress she just bought. Like, Walt, how does this dress make me look? And Walt's going to be like, oh, skinny. When my kids were 4 and 7 years old, they learned all the filthy language words from Travis and Michael next door. And just all the dirty words, man. I didn't know what to do. Like, what do you do as a dad when your kids learn all the filthy language? So I called my mother. I was like, Mom, they learned all the foul language from Travis and Michael next door, so you're off the hook. Just thought she should know. Now, my wife was like, Marty, we got to make our kids stop playing with Travis and Michael next door because Travis and Michael teach them all that foul language. It's like, you're so right, but Travis and Michael have a swimming pool, so. So I went next door to talk to Travis and Michael's dad, and he immediately cussed me out. Called Travis and Michael downstairs, cussed them out for cussing my kids out. And then the three of them together, like they had rehearsed it, cussed me out in unison. It was a spiritual experience. It was. And then they told me, and I'm going to paraphrase what they said, I'm going to clean it up a little bit, that I should go back home and mind my own business. So I did. And that'll be an important detail later in this story. Because we recently had like 500 or 600 bats in our attic. I don't know if y'all have bats out here in Utah. But in South Carolina, we have bats, and they make like a little noise, like, a bat sounds kind of like a mouse, like, kind of like a Pentecostal mouse. This is we had like 500 or 600 bats in our attic, so we called everyone, and no one would do bats, except for one guy. Not even a paid ad, just one line in the white pages, the Bug Man. But we got lucky, because it turns out Bugman knew what he was doing, and he was a certified lunatic. Bugman got to my house and went around to the back where they all were and leaned a 24-foot ladder against the back of the house, boom, and then hit the gable vent up there in the top, like where they all were inside the little louvered gable vent, and one bull bat fell out of the nest and started crawling toward the wall and then started crawling back up the wall right here. And let me clarify, we call them bull bats. These are not vampire bats or fruit bats that are big and kind of sexy and look like superheroes. No, these are tiny little 2-inch gray, furry human beings with wings and fangs and shoulder blades. This bat is crawling back up this wall and gets to about right here, and then Bugman looks at me and looks up there and hears them all and is like, Marty, how many are up there? I was like, I don't know, Bugman, like 500 or 600. And then Bugman picked up a brick and then looked at that bat and looked at me, and then Bugman said, well, that's one. You know, people brag about being licensed and bonded. Yeah, I don't think Bugman was licensed and bonded. I mean, he was bonded recently. Then he started starts to pump this mixture like, psh, 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 smell like a combination of like lemon juice and Clorox and murder. Then he saw the look on my face. He was like, Marty, this stuff is totally safe for the environment. Chill out. Then he strapped on a gas mask, threw this stuff over his shoulder and started up the ladder, got halfway up the ladder and was like, hey, Marty, hold the ladder. So this is me at the bottom holding the ladder, immediately regretting holding this ladder because he squirts this acid bleach into the gable vent. Whereupon I hear this. Evidently, these bats were now upset. And they started to pour out of the side of my house like Niagara Falls of bat coming toward my face. And in a moment of clarity, I remembered that bats can see, but they don't use their eyes. They use echolocation, and they send out a little signal that hits the thing and bounces off that thing and lets the bat know to dodge that thing. And I wanted these 500 bats to know for sure that I was a thing. So I'm at the bottom like, ho, ho, ho! Because here's the thing, you can't play chicken with a blind bat. They're not looking. You can't just be like, I'm gonna go this way, you go that. No! You just gotta stare this down and trust nature. Bats are whizzing by my face, forming a tsunami of bat in my backyard into an attack position. Well, how do you know it was an attack position, Marty? Because the leader bat told me. Well, how do you know he was the leader bat? Because he was sitting right here. Bugman squirts into this vent until there's no more noise, all the bats are out, and it magically covers this thing up with an expandable screen and tacks it up there, and then slides down this ladder like it's a fireman's pole into the middle of a tornado of 500 bats. And he's just like, boom, oh, woo, wow, look at that. Woo. We good, Marty? We good? You said you had cash. Bugman, you can't be finished. He's like, oh, read that contract you signed. I guaranteed at the start of today that at the end of today, there would be no bats left inside your house. Bugman, what is going to happen to all of these bats? He's like, Marty, chill out about the bats. They're going to be fine. Probably go to that house right there. That house with the swimming pool. Deal. So like 3 months later, Travis and Michael's dad is at his mailbox, and I'm at my mailbox, and he's like, Marty, I got like 500 or 600 bats in my attic. Do you know anything about that? And I was like, nah, man. I just been at home, minding my own business. But then he's like, no, Marty, seriously, do you know anything about this? Do you even know who to call? And I was like, no. So before every Little League game that my kids play, I tell them, no matter what happens in the game tonight, kids, Daddy's always gonna love you, win or tie. So, my kids know that my love language is sarcasm, so they understand that win or tie means that they can strike out 1,000 times, and Daddy's always gonna love them. They know, I mean, they get it. They get it. Like win or tie, they know they can strike out 1,000 times. I mean, the night they strike out, every time they're gonna ride home with Grandma, because, I mean, I'm not gonna be seen with them, but, you know, let's get real. But I was the head football coach and drama instructor at a high school in South Carolina for 10 years. Yeah, that did not work out. But it was a conservative Christian school in the Bible Belt in South Carolina. Like, what are you allowed to say to those kids at halftime when they're getting their butts kicked, huh? Like, you boys need to get back out there and turn the other cheek. It was a Protestant school, not a Catholic school, so they wouldn't let me run a Hail Mary. It's just... I had to run a Bless Billy Graham, was just not... I couldn't get my running back to fake a handoff because he's like, my dad said that's technically lying. I was like, will you tell your dad that we are not going to make the playoffs? And he needs to be emotionally prepared for that. I used to teach my 11 players on the field to pray for the other team's injured player because I thought as a Christian school, if they brought the other injury card out to deal with the injured player, as a Christian school, we should show the other school that we were willing to pretend like we cared about them. Dear Lord, just lift up the other team's best running back to you and help him get all the way better, Lord. Help him get all the way better, Lord, tomorrow, because he is killing us off tackle, Jesus, and I believe it's your will that we win this one. And you said where two or more are gathered. And delusional parents at these private schools want to have a little meeting with Coach Simpson and explain to me that I'm showing favoritism and that I'm not playing their kid at wide receiver because I just don't like their kid personally. And I would tell all those rich private school parents the same thing. You're right. I don't like your son. No one at our school does. But that has nothing to do with it. I don't like the little twerp that is playing wide receiver, but guess what? He can catch. Why don't you come to practice every now and then and watch us bounce the ball off your kid's head so then you can understand what God's plan for your kid's life is. So maybe be in the band. I got nothing against the band. I was the high school drama instructor. I put on the school plays. I know that's an odd combination. I tell everybody every fall I just acted like the football coach. I wrote the school's fight song that the band played every time we scored, like 4 times a year. I'm just saying it might be God's plan for your kid's life for him to be in the band instead of on the team because he can't run very far without falling. He can't run very fast without coughing. He can't even snap his own helmet, but he can play the clarinet. The only reason your kid is on the team is because my school didn't let me cut players during tryouts. They said it's not biblically right to cut a player from tryouts if he's always tried his hardest, always had a good attitude, and always been on time with his $26,000 tuition payment. I'm quite certain, ma'am, it outlines for me in the Bible, the same Bible you're looking at, how all football coaches should react in a situation like this. And it's with love, peace, patience, joyfulness, kindness, gentleness, self-control, and all football coaches should be able to cut a kid from the team if he's as bad as your kid is. Just get out of my office. Just go. In peace and serve the Lord, because there are video cameras everywhere today. So I was fired from that job, is what I'm saying. I wasn't fired. I'm just teasing with y'all. It was a mutual decision. It's a win-win, is what I call that. People are like, Marty, you look like you miss coaching and teaching, man. You look like you miss it. I'm like, I miss it every day. And they're like, would you ever get back into coaching and teaching? I was like, I would get back into it tomorrow at an orphanage. See, there's no parents to deal with at an orphanage. That's what, just making sure we're tracking. No, but I don't know if y'all know this or not, but female comics are told from day one that they're not allowed to dress too attractively on stage, or else men won't pay attention to their jokes, because men are men. And so as a show of solidarity to all of my female comic friends this year on my comedy tour, I have been covering up the most attractive parts of my body. I'm down here, ma'am. I'm down here, okay? I will not be objectified during my set. That is not how this is going to roll out. But I went bald when I was 24. Yeah, but I got married when I was 22, so woof, right in under that deadline. I was touch and go there for a minute, but beat the buzzer. But we got married when we were 22, and I married a little hot, awesome, great-looking little gymnast, rock star, cheerleader-looking girl, and she looked 17 when she was 22. And I was 22, and I looked 22. And then 2 years later, my wife still looked 17, and I look like I look right now. So picture me in the grocery store holding hands with that little hot 17-year-old walking around like, What I'm saying is I was arrested like several times. People are like, Marty, why don't you just shave it all the way off? Like, just shave it all the way off. I can't pull that off. I'm not cool enough. You got to give off a different vibe than I give off. Like, I give off a vibe that everyone sees immediately, basketball referee. Thank you for proving my point. That is, if you shave your head all the way off, you need to give off a vibe like an undercover government agent. I look like an agent, a real estate agent. Besides, I can't shave it all the way off because then my head is never the same color tan. If I shave my head, I look like I'm wearing a permanent swim cap up here. It's just like Michael Phelps. But I met with Bosley Hair Club Transplant Treatment Center. They say it's a transplant, like they're curing cancer. They said, Marty, we can take the hair out of here and replant it up here. And I was like, well, what'll keep it from falling out from up there? And they're like, oh, well, the hair back here is not susceptible to the hormone that causes baldness. I was like, well, how do you know that? And they're like, because it's still there. I'm listening. They said it would just cost $48,000. 4 payments of $12,000 to solve all of my anxiety with my male pattern baldness. Yeah, that was a really quick conversation. I met with another company that wanted 1 payment to do the same exact thing, $22.95. Lids. Sold. But my school was awesome, though, because we had kids from all over the globe, kids from Korea, China, Africa. And I used to brag that I taught kids from Zambia because I thought that was cool. I taught 2 kids from Zambia named Lusungu and Tandizo Sabande. These names have not been changed to protect the innocent. Lusungu is an African word that means mercy of God. And Tandizo is an African word that means Thomas. Miss Sabande came into my office one day and she burst in there just like, oh, Coach Simpson, I can't find my keys. Where are my keys? I can't leave in my car. Tell me my keys. Where are my keys, Coach Simpson? Okay, time out. I realized talking with my southern accent, dressed the way I'm dressed, sounding the way I'm sounding, I don't come across as the wokest guy in this room. Okay, but I'm not implying that all women from the continent of Africa sound this way when they speak. That would be insensitive. I am not doing that. But I am doing a perfect impression of one woman from Zambia who I knew for 10 years and loved dearly. And you know what? I'm not even doing an impression of her. I'm not mocking her. I'm letting you know exactly what I heard in my brain, which sounded like this. Oh, Coach Simpson, I can't find my keys. Where are my keys? I can't leave in my car. Don't find my keys. Where are my keys, Coach Simpson? Let me slow it down. Oh, Coach Simpson, where are my keys? I cannot leave in my car until I find my keys. Where are my keys, Coach Simpson? So I looked for this woman's keys for a half hour until Lusungu and Tandizo came running around the corner and she said, oh, here are my kids. Well, that would explain why she was looking at me like I was crazy for a half hour, looking for her kids. in desk drawers, lockers, underneath bleachers. And picture me saying, you know, Miss Sabande, I saw something in your third period. Maybe the janitor got them. It is Friday. He probably locked him in his office for the weekend. Unless he took him home with him, then in which case you're probably never gonna see him again. Surely you could just make another set. You know, and if you let me help you with that, it would take like 5 minutes at Walmart. Cost like $1.80. Miss Jackson needed my help like 3 times last semester. I used to lose mine all the time, Miss Sabande. So finally I just tied them to a string so I could swing them around and around and around. And then I just keep them tied to my belt. That's when I was fired, right then. That's when I was fired, right then. Well, my 13-year-old daughter over the summer started to grow horizontally instead of vertically. It's not what you're thinking. Just like right in this area right here, started to grow out to the side so she could put her hand on it. She kind of moves her head now when she talks. Does anybody else have this 13-year-old? It's just me. It's just my bad parenting that caused this. My daughter is a rock star. She's the coolest kid ever. Kids love her. Parents love her. Every coach that's ever coached her love her. I wouldn't change a hair on her head. She's perfect. But when she is talking to me with that hand on her hip and her head moving back and forth, I don't care what she's saying to me. I feel like she's talking back to me. Dad, we made you breakfast in bed. Happy Father's Day. Go to your room right now. That is unacceptable. But it turns out, we found out, she's got scoliosis. Okay, ma'am, you're horrible for laughing at that. I don't know what. You're bent over laughing at the scoliosis. I don't even know what's happening right there. This is not a joke. My daughter has a 60-degree curve in the bottom of her spine and a 35, 45-degree curve in the top of her spine. Makes a huge S, which she said was for Savannah. She's like, Dad, you're not gonna stop talking about me on stage, are you? I was like, nope. So I'm not making fun of the disability that my daughter has. I'm not making it up. It's a true story. She had a miraculous surgery that was incredible. On her 14th birthday, all through the summer, cut her back open, the doctor did, 20-inch scar down the back, fused 13 of her vertebrae to 2 titanium rods, put 26 3-inch screws, 2 per vertebra, all the way up, 7-hour procedure, 7 units of blood, 7 nights in the hospital, 7 weeks in the bed, 7 months of rehab. 30 years ago, she would have been 9 months in a body cast before she could walk. And the night of her surgery, because of new technology, they needed to change her sheets, and she just hopped up from the bed and moved out of the way. And a lot of crowds clap right then, but I can tell y'all don't care at all. No, stop. It's way too late. There was a clear window. There was a clear window where you could have proved that you had a soul. And you failed miserably. God knows your heart. But she said, Dad, you're the only dad conservative enough to have his daughter's back fused to 2 titanium rods, just so I'll never be able to twerk. I was like, I would have done that when you were 5, Savannah. I didn't know. Didn't know. How do you punish your teenage kids in today's world? How do you punish them? I think we're gonna camp out over here for a second. You said smack them? The girl that I pointed to said, that's fine. Well, that's fine. We won't ruin my special with that. That's fine. You take their phone. That's the right answer at every show. Every show, the first thing that's said has been take their phone for like a lot of years. Until Provo, when for the record, the first thing that was said from this section was smack them. She didn't even ask. She didn't even ask, like, for what offense? What did they do wrong? Like, you punish them for missing their homework. Smack them. You punish them for staying out like 15 minutes past. Smack them. You punish them for not eating their broccoli. Smack them. How do you punish your teenage kids? You take their phone, right? You take their phone. It's not enough, though. It's not enough to take their phone. Here's my public service announcement to you. You have to do more than that. You have to take your teenage daughter's phone, but you leave it logged in to her Instagram. And then you take that phone as her at 2 a.m. that night, and you scroll on her timeline to all the boys that you know she thinks are good looking. And then you scroll back a year and a half on their timeline like, And then you start incessantly liking every photo from a year and a half ago. Like. And then you find that new haircut photo of the boy you know she has a crush on, and you comment as her, I really like your hair in this photo, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, 100, 100, 100, fire, fire, fire. Hashtag hubba hubba. She will never misbehave again. You're welcome. So there are alternatives, ma'am. I'm just saying. Thank y'all. I've been Marty Simpson.
Local man robs Wendy's with alligator. We're the alligator boys now.